Like something else. a while for me to kind of lock into that.
Where's Brad? Oh, he was back, but he's there. He's just in the You gotta spin it. You gotta spin it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, you have to always clean it out.
Where's one of those? No spin. No spin.
You don't have to worry about that.
No spin. Warren, you have to like take it apart.
I know.
I think after all this shit's like they figured it out. It's everything.
I know. It gets all rusty.
Ready?
Oh, here we go. Ready or not.
Yep.
You ready, Matt?
He said 14. Do you need more time?
I think we're ready. Matt's the key here. He's got
Got one more? That's it. Welcome, church. It is fantastic to be here with all of you in this sanctuary. I am aware in these days in which we live that we live in a gorgeous, beautiful world and an incredibly broken world. Church, you all have been invited with these candles. And you may think, what's going on with the ministers? It's July. These candles usually come out during Christmas time. Yes, they usually come out on Christmas Eve. It's one of those most favorite moments that I have, and I hunger and yearn for it all year long. It's that moment in worship we've sung Silent Night, Holy Night, all is calm, all is bright. Church, can you imagine? Jesus, Lord, at thy birth, Christ our Savior is born. We dim the lights and we all light candles, one to another to another. And all of a sudden, the sanctuary is filled with this healing light that reminds us within each of us is God's abiding, loving, beloved presence. So this morning, church, we're going to light our candles to remind ourselves that there is a light within us. There is a light within all people in this world in which we live. I invite you to do safety first. And this is where I always forget which way we light. Person holds that's lit and then does that way, yeah? Kids, parents, please take care of your kids while they do that part. There's also a story about A.J. Musty during the Vietnam War, who was an activist, he was a minister, he was an immigrant. And he used to stand each evening during the Vietnam War outside the White House, whether it was raining, during the evening time, with his candle lit. And one evening, a reporter came up to him and said, "You're out here every evening. Why are you here? Do you really think you lighting that one candle is going to make a difference in this nation?" And he said, "I'm out here lighting this candle every evening so that the nation does not take over my inner world," and I'm riffing a little bit, y'all, "so that I remember whose I am and the world in which I am building." So friends, we're going to do a little lighting of our candles. That sound all right this morning? Yes? And I'm going to do a prayer. Again, safety first. I'm wondering if we need to turn off the fan in the back. Are they off? Oh, I think you do that way, yeah? And if you'd like to say you are the light of God, you can say that and make eye contact and smile. You can say there is hope in this room. You can say, I see the light in you, and for that I give thanks. If you would tip yours that way, you're okay. Welcome. God's light is within you. Mike, God's light shines in you. Pam, God's light is within you. Jim, God's light is within you. Thanks, Ken. God's light is within you. Dwight, God's light shines in you. God's light is within you. God's light is within you. Carol, if you would tip it. Hey, y'all, welcome back. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. God's light is within you. Musicians, you all need some? You okay? We know God's light shining in you too. Oh, look at that. My little light went out. Not really, but. Those of you on the live stream, we invite you to find a candle or a light that you can light in a safe way in your space, knowing that God's light is with you as well. Church, I invite you to take a deep breath in and an exhale. Another deep, nourishing breath in of God's love and peace. And an exhale of peace into this room as we ask, oh God, to help us to shine our lights and embody them deeply. God, we ask that you would shower us with a peace that passes all of our understanding, that we would dive into that deep well of peace. God, we ask that you would help us shine our light in ways that are filled with non-violence, that we would be a people who would turn towards one another with open hands and open hearts. God, we ask that you would help us to shine our lights and embody them deeply as we continue to be a people of radical inclusivity, that we would lean deeply into our diversity, knowing that that is our strength as we continue building longer and wider tables of welcome, filled with multicultural global awareness. And God, we ask that you would help us shine our light as we are a people of justice, for we know that's what your love looks like in public. And we thank you for the prophet Amanda Gorman, who reminds us, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. May it be so in and through us, Creator God. Amen. I invite you to place that candle in a nice, safe space. Nice, safe place on the seat there or in your pew. Let us continue to worship our God who is with us now. How good it is to come into worship and be reminded of the light. Be reminded that we are a people of peace, of this God who delights in us. We too are a God of justice. We continue to speak out against violence in all of its many forms and know that we can be a people who lean deeply into God's abiding presence in those moments that we might be a little trepidation and might have a little bit of fear. And yet here at United Church of Christ, Lord, here at McAllister Plymouth United Church. Do y'all ever have those moments, right? Where it's like you time travel all in one time and you visit all those, yes, welcome to McAllister Plymouth United Church on this day when we gather to worship, aware of these times in which we live, again, where we speak out against violence that attempts to have us be scared of one another rather than turning towards one another in ways that bring about peace. So we will continue during this worship service to turn towards that peace and that hope as we hear about the reflections from our youth and our leaders as we headed down to New Orleans to rebuild hope there. On this day in which we worship, I need you to know this too, that you are named and claimed beloved, that God delights in our diversity, whether gay, straight, trans, or bi, you are seen and valued here in this space. Whether black or brown or white, you are seen, heard, and valued in this space, knowing that we continue to draw that circle wider as we usher in relationships that give us life and that fill us more deeply with God's abiding love. And we take that out to create a world where all are seen, heard, and valued. Are you with me, church? Church, we also need to acknowledge today that we gather on the homeland of the Dakota people. We acknowledge the role Christianity has played in removing the Dakota people from their sacred land. We also acknowledge the historical role that churches, including our denominations, played in establishing boarding schools designed to erase indigenous culture. We honor the Dakota, the Anishinaabe, and our indigenous neighbors. We pledge to learn from them and to walk in solidarity with them. For church, what we're really doing is walking one another home. Home to that place within us where we can rest more deeply in peace and love. Home for all people to know that they are loved. On this day, we also celebrate a deep abiding love of Chuck and Pat Eversman. I invite y'all to stand, and if you would love to come forward, that would be delightful too if you'd like to stand there. Do y'all know that Chuck and Pat are celebrating 65 years of a wedding anniversary? Yee-hoo! Chuck and Pat were married at Zion Reformed Church, United Church of Christ in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, June 6, 1959. Chuck and Pat, may you continue to experience the beauty and goodness of God's abiding, enduring, loving presence. And may you continue to shower that with your family who is with you here as well. Isn't that one of the beauties of community? That we, as we co-create this sacred space, can hold the brokenness, the beauty, everything in between, to be reminded that we are so loved. So I invite you to pray with me, church. God, into this moment, we ask that you would send your spirit of love and delight upon each of us. God, much has happened in this world. We pray for our elected officials. We pray for our current president. We pray for our former president. We pray for all the people who were at the rally yesterday who experienced such terror and trauma. God, we know the necessity of being a people of peace and nonviolence. Continue to show us the way forward as we follow in the way of you, our risen Christ. God, may the words we speak to one another draw us deeper into connection. May the way we go to the voting booth be that healing and bridge building we so long for. Into our fear, God, we ask that you would pour out your ever-abiding peace. In the midst of our despair and cynicism, we ask, oh God, that you would fill us with a hope that enlivens us to reach out towards our neighbors. We ask this, oh God, as we continue to worship you. May we experience you in ways that give us life. It's in your many names and Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Are we getting some reverb? No? Just in my head. Yeah? Yeah, no reverb? Okay, good. Fantastic.
Sing to the glory of the God who creates us. Sing to the glory of the Christ who redeems us. Sing to the glory of the Holy Spirit who sustains and comforts us. As it was in the beginning, is now and ever shall be, world without end. World without end, world without end, amen.
Beloveds, let us be a people who practice being the peace that we long to see, for we are the people we have been waiting for. I invite you to place a hand on your chest, knowing that that is the heartbeat and love of God that is with you. I invite you, as you feel comfortable and as resonates with your body, to reach out your other hand. And I invite you to wave and make eye contact one with another. You can also be bold and say, God's peace be with you. Your gorgeous light. May you know you're loved. Whatever is resonating through you. Peace, peace, peace. Congregation, I also invite you to take a look at the beam over here in the camera where we have folks worshiping via the live stream, whether today or throughout the week. May they also know God's peace. God's peace be with you.
There's a spirit of love in this place. There's a spirit of love in this place. You can't see it, but it's there, just as precious as the air. There's a spirit of love in this place. There's a presence of peace in this room. There's a presence of peace in this room. In God's tenderness is found peace that passes human
It is with deep gratitude that our youth and leaders, in a few moments, will share with you their reflections on our youth mission trip. Church, thank you for your financial, prayerful support, not only of us heading down to New Orleans, yet the way that you are ongoing and supporting and raising up these amazing youth into who they're becoming. Thank you for learning their names. Thank you for asking how school's going. Thank you for being the really cool adults in their life. Since that's what all the research tells us. Our young people need those really cool, and maybe you don't think of yourself really cool, but let me tell you this morning you are, those really cool people in their lives to come alongside and say, hey, I think you're pretty amazing. How's it going at school? And to the parents, y'all are doing an awesome job. And again, that's one of the beauties of being in community. It's the way we're raising one another up, being in those relationships. So I invite Hope to come forward. Yes?
Good morning. My name is Hope. I use she, her pronouns, and it was my honor to be a chaperone on the New Orleans trip. This way. Okay. The world often feels impossibly hard and overwhelming to me in recent years. I get stuck because I don't feel like I can quite do enough to make an impact. It feels heavy and scary. And New Orleans is a place that takes some of these big things and it shows us just what can happen when they're left unchecked. I want to share a snippet of some of the things that we experienced while we were there. Extreme poverty, like next level, the kind that leaves me without words to describe it. Our sisters and brothers in humanity live so far below the poverty level, it's shocking. Black mold, rat feces, cockroaches that are out in the broad daylight. One was so bold to have crawled up the arm of one of our youths while we were working. All of this was next to the newborn section in the clothing bank that we were volunteering at, sorting out clothing in moldy boxes, so prized that they're kept in a locked cage in a backroom closet, because there's a risk of them being stolen. A tour of the city, the murder capital of the US, made a stop at a shrine that listed hundreds, maybe thousands, of names of the murdered. Because when you have so little to lose. These were mostly young black men whose murders have been left unsolved. This extreme poverty is just blocks from a neighborhood that they've aptly named Millionaire's Row. Towering, plantation-esque homes with private security cars zipping around their gardener manicured lawns, Range Rovers in their driveways. This is the neighborhood that we were headquartered out of. And it offered a daily, extreme juxtaposition to the areas that we were working in. Ironically, one of the youth so aptly stated that the only time we were treated rudely the entire time we were in New Orleans was in this neighborhood because people were upset we were blocking traffic briefly while we loaded up our vans with food to bring to community meal. There was rampant classism, sexism, racism, anti-LGBTQism. It was white-centered, and there was a lot of whitewashing in the volunteerism, I gotta tell you. Not here. A food apartheid that leaves those with the most meager incomes and lack of options in transportation with grocery store choices that look like a poorly stocked gas station, and we know that those diets lead to lots more problems. A seemingly complete lack of resources for the many folks that we saw living with addiction and extreme mental health issues. We drove through Cancer Alley. It's an 85-mile stretch along the Mississippi River, which contains over 200 petrochemical plants and refineries. Environmentalists have named this region and consider it a sacrifice zone, because the rates of cancer caused by the air pollution exceed the federal government's own limited risks, acceptable risks. This environmental and humanitarian disaster was on the very road that led us to the Whitney Plantation, where we toured, and a couple of generations earlier, descendants of many of the same people still living in Cancer Alley had been enslaved. When we do the math here, these factors are just some of the things that add up to the perpetuating and vicious cycles of inequity It felt and it feels so heavy and impossible. Every day of our trip, we were invited to impact some new kind of tragedy. Every day, Cynthia, Kira, and I made some silent eye contact, and what was going through my head is, how are we going to help these youth unpack all of this heavy? I loved Cynthia's leadership on this trip. She beautifully nurtured and enabled the youth to drive this experience and make it their own. She presented the setting, and we collectively supported the youth in deciding for themselves what to do with it. And every day that we were in Louisiana, these youth profoundly made the next right choice. It was a lot, and I have to tell you, that in all of this inequality, all of this heartache, and all of this impossibility, our youth filled me with so much hope for our future. These 9 wonderful young adults figured it out. They leaned in, they had hard conversations with one another, they dug deep. I suspect they did some soul searching, I know I did. And they cumulatively and impressively, routinely kept making the next right decision. Not the easy one, but the one that moved them. And I think that they're gonna tell you about it in detail. How they sat at the literal and proverbial table with those living deep in the margins, addicts, prostitutes, those struggling with mental health and housing insecurity. They shared a meal and raised their voices so beautifully, singing together. They opted in and stayed in the roach and rat-infested community center clothing bank sorting items until the job was done with dignity. There were tears as we followed these same footpaths as enslaved people had too few years before through the plantation. And these guys kept putting one foot in front of the other, facing the hard and honoring those who came before us by hearing their truth. They worked hard and they held space for joy. During our short break at the diaper bank, they cranked up the tunes and threw all teenage inhibition out the window, and they learned a new dance and let it rip. It was glorious. They were the living church in so many beautiful ways. They turned toward the hard, dark, and unjust. They were so brave and pure-hearted. They didn't fix the problems, but they definitely left them better than how we found them. In New Orleans, I learned so much. My eyes were opened wide, and my heart maybe even wider, and every one of these guys found a space inside of it, and they fill me with hope still. Yeah, they rebuilt some hope in New Orleans, and even bigger for me, they restored my hope for all of our future. In this hard world where things don't seem to be getting any easier, I'm flooded with reassurance that this generation of youth, when given the choice, turns toward, makes the changes, takes the right path over the easy one, opens their hearts, and lives their values. They did us real proud. Thank you for supporting this trip, for being a safe spot to have been raised up in and to come home to, for modeling values, for the space you hold that nurtures each one of us just as we are, for being visionaries and crafting a course that enabled us to make all of this possible, and for your encouragement and love. I've never been more aware of how lucky we are to be in community with one another. And thank you to the youth for rebuilding hope in New Orleans and hope for all that lies ahead. We're in good hands.
Just grabbing this mic, are you good?
Hi, I'm Aria. I use she, her pronouns. Growing up, I frequently saw people housed in tents. I saw people asking for food, work, or simply anything I could give. They were grateful for even the smallest gesture. I was familiar with the concept of poverty, but I couldn't have been farther from understanding it. Sometimes we presume poverty is simply being hungry and homeless. However, feeling unwanted, unloved, and uncared for might be the greatest poverty of all. When we experience heartache, change, and joy, we typically have someone to share it with, to make it seem a little less hard or feel a little less alone. But this is not always true for people, especially those living in poverty. Being in New Orleans and volunteering meals, organization, and work power were important. Even more important was making sincere interpersonal connections with the people that we met. Many of them had no one to do life with. One of the places we volunteered that impacted me the most was Okra Abbey, a community garden that we helped build to provide fresh fruits and vegetables in the midst of an area that is a food apartheid. a place people can go to find community within one another, and a place that feels like home. During a community lunch at Ochre Abbey, I met someone who had a profound impact on me. His name is Dominic, and he couldn't have had more meaningful things to share. First, Dominic shared that life isn't always stationary. Sometimes when you feel like you are no longer learning and growing where you're at, you need to take a risk and move forward, carrying with you the information you have learned. Second, he demonstrated the concept that two people make a church. He demonstrated this after we ate when he spontaneously started singing. He said, "This, us here, right now, this is church." He didn't need a fancy building or a formal service. He found church where he was and in community. New Orleans not only allowed us to give back to others, but it undeniably gifted us with lasting impacts and memories which we will continue to carry. Our system has been structured around helping specific groups of people, while it has failed so many others. Homeless people are not the problem, they are the results of it. Having the opportunity to get to know and work alongside so many wonderful people like Dominic who have fallen on hard times was as much of a gift to me as my service was to them. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Issa. While I was a little nervous about going on this mission trip, it exceeded my expectations in every way. The people we met there were so welcoming, but even more, the youth bonded to form an inseparable group of friends. Rides in the car, pool parties, joint workouts in the hotel gym, smoothie runs, and our beloved breakfast table were just some of the times we spent together as a group and as friends. Here are some of my favorite moments of spending time with each other. The first night, when we went to the pool in our hotel, we were examining the pool and someone saw a snake at the deep end of the pool. It was squirming and moving at the bottom of the pool, so when we jumped in, we stayed away from the deep end. Until Emerson said he would give anyone $20 if we could get the small snake out of the pool. And naturally, me and Satya used a shoe to get the snake out of the pool. Even though people kept telling us it was venomous and would be bitten, well, we got the snake out. It was just a dead worm. And we never did get those $20. During a certain water break at the diaper bank where we volunteered, when we were working hard, Cynthia began enthusiastically performing the Cupid Shuffle. Somehow, a couple minutes later, we ended up with a speaker playing the music while I led the group in dancing the Cupid Shuffle together. Another day, we got to spend some time to explore the French Quarter. So we stopped at Café du Monde to try some beignets. When we sat down, there was a guy singing on the street directly in front of us, singing in a very high falsetto. As we ate, we would sing and dance as he sang songs that we knew. Eventually, other people came up to him to sing a song with him. And he said to us, "Come up and sing." And after a little of convincing, different combinations of us went up and we sang songs like Nicki Minaj, Justin Bieber, and Miley Cyrus. By working together, we were able to have more fun, better serve the city, and deal with the intensity around us. I thoroughly enjoyed this week, and I want to thank the congregation for making it possible for us to have made such a big difference all the way down in New Orleans. Thank you.
I'm just gonna need to hold it. During the mission trip, I was exposed to things I previously haven't been exposed to. And I'm choosing to look at the positives. And some of the things I was exposed to was prosperity, happiness, community, and love. One of the things I noticed while I was at Ochre Abbey, I'm sure I'm not gonna be the first nor the last to talk about Ochre Abbey, was a little girl. She was happy to get ramen noodles for lunch after we've given out all the food already. And that really struck me as I was eating the next couple meals after that, for how appreciative I am to be able to eat everything I have and to be in the, position I'm able to be in today. And it inspires me to continue to do good for the community around me and help people around me. Next is my appreciation for the safety of where I live in. When we were in a place where we were organizing donated goods, we weren't in the best area, and people were concerned for our safety. So after me, Aria, Hope, and Nadine all went out to Costco to bring food, we were all hungry, and we planned to eat it right outside of where we were eating. We were instructed not to eat it there for worries of our safety. And that scared a few of us, so we went to a place 2 blocks away that was hopefully safer to be able to eat all of our food. I don't know, that's just something that came to mind. And lastly, I hope that Hope, Kira, and obviously my mom will still come and help with all the future mission trips. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Satya. One thing I noticed while on this trip was the positivity of the people in the community. Even though there's a lot of struggle, as talked about in New Orleans, whether it be because of the horrible environmental disasters experienced by this city, or a lasting effect of the hundreds of plantations in slavery from years ago, or just the daily economical and societal struggle experienced by many around the world today, we definitely saw it, but not necessarily in the faces of the people. Multiple times throughout this trip, I was faced with a sense of hope and care in the actually real Southern hospitality from the waiters, in the cute little squishy face of the lead minister's baby, and especially in a conversation with some of the people we met at the community garden. While talking to these people, we were told some very motivational life advice about how you can always make it through, as some of the other people have touched more on. But for me, it got me thinking, how can these people be so positive in such a hard time? I think this is their way of coping. If you tell yourself that what's going on is going to be okay or it could be worse, then you'll have a much easier time keeping yourself afloat. I hope to take this positive perspective into my life as well as into the lives of those around me, because as our people down in the South would say, it's going to be all right, hon.
Hello, I'm Emmett, and I use he, him pronouns. We did a lot in New Orleans, such as working at a diaper bank, visiting a plantation, sorting donated goods, and just bonding with the group. But one of the things that really stuck with me was on our second day at Okra Abbey, the community garden. We'd helped out with weeding and painting a garbage bin the day before. And on the second day, we had made enchiladas and brownies after breakfast at the church. We then headed over to Okra Abbey to serve it as a free meal for anyone who stopped by. The enchiladas were very good, but what really was cool was after we'd eaten, a few people started singing songs that they knew or just whatever words came to them. From there, more and more people joined in until most of the people there, including us, were singing along or at least listening and enjoying the music. What I found really uplifting about that was that although many of these people had it much worse than we do, they still had a song, sang songs with positive lyrics, like "Everything will be all right" and "We will get through this together." I also thought it was really cool how even though we didn't know this community and had only interacted with a couple of the people at Okra Abbey before that day, they still welcomed us and encouraged us to join in the singing. On this mission trip, we obviously did many things and visited many places. This moment was probably the most impactful for me and is something that I will remember every time I think of this mission trip. Thanks for your support, and I hope I'm able to go on this trip again next year.
Hi, I'm back. I'm going to say a couple words for Nadine, who could not be here today. Hi, church. My name is Nadine. Sorry I couldn't be here to say this in person. I had lots of fun in New Orleans, all the food we got to try and the places we got to see. I enjoyed helping other people and also getting more involved with the people that were there. One of my favorite moments was when we all sat down at the table after doing some work with the other people and started singing and talking. I didn't really have a challenging experience since I enjoyed what I was doing. I thank the church so much for making this happen.
Hello, my name is Geneva Marshall, and this was my second mission trip. To me, the most meaningful part of the trip was the service we did and seeing the effects of it. This was my first real experience with service work, and to say it felt uplifting would be an understatement. The first work we did was at a community garden called Okra Abbey. We weeded their garden and painted their trash can. As much as I dislike yard work, it was fulfilling to see the clean plant beds. And as for the gorgeously painted trash bin, it felt good to prevent another stolen bin. Our next mission was to repackage diapers in order to have them donated. The activity was energetic and immediately gratifying as you watched the finished boxes begin to pile up. So gratifying, in fact, that it may have ignited a competitive side in me, and for that, I apologize to you, Kira. Along with the 14 packed boxes from my group, we finished with a total of 8,325 diapers, packed and in total. We discussed a lot about impact on our mission, how as a majority we wanted to focus on tasks with an immediate and long-lasting effect. I can't speak for others, being able to help in the now definitely impacted me. The gratitude we received on our mission has taught me to never doubt the effect a simple task such as weeding a garden or cooking a meal can have on a community or an individual. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Kira Pollock, and I got to chaperone these youth to New Orleans. I would like to first start out with saying it was hard. And it's important to say that because I think we as a community really like to say, but. And I will add some buts, but it was hard. It was hard to be there. It was hard to not be in charge. And, so no buts, but ands. I want to tell you a little bit about this concept of type 2 fun, which is when in the moment it is awful and you have some time and perspective and you're like, okay, no, that was great. So first I will start out with, I am directionally challenged. It's one of the reasons I think I will never leave St. Paul because now I know where I am and I don't get lost. But there were 2 vans, and I was the only adult in one van when we were sent on a driving tour of New Orleans. The pastor spent 10 minutes painstakingly saying, we're taking this route, we're turning left on St. Charles, you're gonna pass these landmarks, and then we're gonna turn right here, and we're gonna end up at this park. But don't worry, I'll be in the green Subaru at the front of the line. And I said, yes. I parked it right behind that Subaru. I'm set, I don't need to pay attention. It's okay, I wasn't the only one not paying attention to the directions she gave. So, I'm sitting in my van, youth are loaded, green Subaru in front of me. The pastor never gets in the car. She had instead decided to go in the tour bus that the other church group brought with them from Illinois. Okay. So we're following this tour bus that doesn't turn left on the street we were supposed to turn onto, and I say, okay, we're trusting, it's fine. And then we turn onto a busy road. It's 5 p.m., it's rush hour, it is stop and go traffic. I lose the bus briefly, we find it again. It's fine. In the back seat, one of the youth, Geneva, says, when's our next bathroom break? And I said, well, it was before you got in the car, but I'm sure at the park we'll find something. We're driving, and we get to a light much like on Summit Avenue, where if you're turning left, you've got an itty-bitty, and then you go. And so the tour bus takes up the entire that way, and they go, and either Hope or Cynthia, I don't know who was driving, they did the smart thing, and they went anyway. And I did not. So by the time I get through, bus is long gone. And we're playing the who can see the bus game. No one's winning. I turn to Carmen and shotgun and I say, can you text the other car? Because I don't remember where we're going now, because none of these things we were supposed to see, we saw. But also keep an eye on the road. And, we were supposed to look for grocery stores and poverty and all of this checklist of pay attention to your surroundings while I am freaking out and looking for the bus in my surroundings. So we finally get a text back, we're going to this park. And I say, sweet, plug it into the maps, please. And we're getting there. I can't figure out where we're going to park, but I can just turn around here. Oh, porta potty. Geneva, need to go? And she does, and it's fine. And the maps, though, because where I turned in, they said, you can just cut through the park and then park right outside. And I say, well, this is road shaped, but not textured, but maybe. And I see that the gate is not open enough for my van to go through, so I'm in the process of a 3-point turnaround when we see park security come up in the golf cart, and I think, oh, thank God. Someone will tell me where I'm supposed to go. No, just angrily gesturing, you need to leave. And I was like, I know I need to leave. Our rental van, the license plate is just UMM, and that's exactly how I feel. So we get out, and then map says, you can turn right here, no biggie. And I start turning right, and we hear, I'm crying at this point. I'm like, gotta hold it together. The youth have got to make it to this park. In the process of us leaving the park, and I think, okay, at least I know where to park now, we get a text, just kidding, the pastor said we're starting at the next site instead. So we find the bus and the other van, we park behind it, we start walking to meet up with the other group, which I'm convinced will be done with where they are and heading back, because it would be just our luck. They're not, they were waiting for us, which was very kind. And we pass this really sad looking cat, and I think, that's how I feel. And we get there, and Cynthia knows how panicked I am, which I don't really understand how she knows, but she does. And she goes, can we laugh about it yet? And I was like, laugh about what? Well, Emerson had taken a video, a 10-second video of us being chased out of the park by the security, and sent it to the group chat. And so I am trying to laugh, but I'm not quite there yet. We're still in type 3 fun, which is not fun at all. And I'm sobbing every time, and she gives me a hug. And Cynthia, being who we all know she is, kind and compassionate, also mentions right after she stops hugging me, did you see that cat? I pet it. So I was also then convinced I was gonna get ringworm somewhere. Anyway, we see the monument to the murdered citizens of New Orleans, which is not funny at all. That will always be type 3 fun. And then they say, all right, now to the park. And I was like, but I was just there. And so I'm following fastidiously behind the tour bus. And I was like, I am not getting lost this time. And we make it, we park. It's a gorgeous site. We're walking along the square. We are learning history. There's beautiful sculptural art. And I think I finally just about calmed down enough to process any of this when park security drives right past the back of the group and I'm done. So thank you all for having me. And next year, we're not going any further than Iowa.
I can't follow that, just so you guys know. Hi, my name is Carmen Richmond. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and this was my second mission trip with Mac Plymouth. One of my favorite things about New Orleans was the people there. Every place we went, we met such kind people, all from different backgrounds. On our second day at Okra Abbey, after we had cooked a meal and served it to the community, we sat with a few members that stuck around. One of them was a young lady playing the ukulele, and the other 2 men were singing along with her. One of the men was in his early 40s and had a beautiful alto voice. In between songs, he would have conversations with all of us, youth, and one conversation stuck out to me in particular. He had asked us where we were from and what church we were a part of. He then proceeded to tell us about his church experience. He had said that when he was our age, he did all the same things. He learned, he sang, he participated in confirmation. We asked if he was still a part of any church community today, and he responded, yes. He said, "This one right here." Is this not a church? We are a church right now, aren't we? This is a congregation, a community, talking and singing about emotions and spirituality and goodness. I had never thought of it that way. No building or cross, no chapel or organ, no schedule or pastor, just a lot of singing people. But he proceeded to go on, take the conversation deeper, and he said something I'll never forget. He told us that he had left his church simply because he moved on to a different part of his life. He wanted to follow his dreams and career, and the formal church wasn't a part of that. And the formal church wasn't a part of that anymore. But he had said that he'll never forget anything they ever taught him. He told me, leave whenever, go wherever, do your own thing, but always remember what they taught you. He said he had learned so much from the elders at his church when he was younger, and even when he left the community, he still carried what they taught him with him. And after all this, I wrote it down because I never wanted to forget this advice. We proceeded to sing our hearts out again, and this time it was to Broadway, so naturally I knew everything and sang along. But for the rest of the trip, and even now, I still think about what he said. He was so comfortable with needing to leave his church because he had knew that no matter where he went or what his dreams he followed, he would still have his faith with him. So thank you, church, for all you have taught me and all I have yet to learn. Because just like this gentleman, I will carry it with me wherever I go. Thank you for being there for us, supporting us, teaching us, and thank you for sending us on this trip. It means so much to us.
Y'all, we have a video for you. I invite the youth to move somewhere where you can see it, and I also invite Kira and Hope to come forward. Kira and Hope, come on up, y'all. On behalf of the youth and the entire congregation, thank you. Thank you for sharing your gifts. Thank you for holding the space. Thank you for your wisdom, your flexibility, your laughter, your tears. Thank you for helping raise them up. So we thank you very, very much. So some flowers. This one's for you. Kira, thank you, thank you. Thank you. All right, can y'all see it? You might need to move. Yeah, everybody can see it? Fantastic. Here we are in New Orleans.
In the South Lane, there's a city way down on the river where the women are very pretty and all the men deliver. They got music, it's always playing. Start in the daytime, go all through the night. When you hear that music playing, hear what I'm saying, it make you feel alright. Grab somebody, come on down. Bring your paintbrush, we painting the town. Oh, there's some sweetness going round. Catch it down in New Orleans. We got magic, good and bad. Make you happy or make you real sad. Get everything you want, lose what you had. Down here in New Orleans. Hey partner, don't be shy. Come on down here and give us a try. You wanna do some living before you die? Do it down in New Orleans. Stately homes and mansions of the sugar barons and the cotton kings. Rich people, poor people, all got dreams. Dreams do come true in New Orleans.
I just want you close, where you can stay forever. You can be sure that it will only get better. You and me together through the days and nights. I don't worry 'cause everything's gonna be alright. People keep talking, they can say what they like, but all I know is everything's gonna be alright. And no one can get in the way of what I'm feeling. No one can get in the way of what I feel for you. You can get in the way of what I feel for you.
Musicians, yes? Shall we sing a hymn? Thank you, congregation. I invite us to rise in body and spirit as we sing together the world that our youth were helping put into practice, into motion. Oh, for a world.
Oh, for a world where everyone respects each other's ways, where love is lived and all is done with justice and with grace. Where goods are shared and misery relieved, where truth is spoken, children spared, equality achieved. We welcome one world family and struggle with each choice that opens us to unity and gives our vision voice. The poor rich, the weak are strong, the foolish ones are wise. Tell all who mourn outcast belong, who perishes will rise. Oh, for a world preparing for God's glorious reign of peace, where time and tears will be no more, and all but love will cease.
I invite you to be seated. I invite you to be seated. During our time of prayer today, we know about the necessity of community, the many ways that we hold the sacred space, whether in times of sorrow or joy or everything in between. This morning we're celebrating Dan and Laura, Eliza and Kaylee. If you'd like to come forward, or would you like to stay there? They are getting ready for a new adventure. They have purchased a new home about 2 hours away. So we would like to say thank you and to offer you a blessing of goodbye and a see you later. And we are so thankful for you all, your abiding presence here, for jumping into a search team that brought me here, for your willingness to be on the Children, Youth, and Family Faith Formation, for the way that you're raising up your girls to just be so present and attentive and curious. So church, we will miss them, yes? And we are so thankful for all of you. And we hope you'll send us updates every once in a while. Remind us where you're headed. Winona. So when I heard that news, I said, that's like 10 minutes away, right? Knowing that they'd be able to, and yet, you have family in town there, and that's gonna be great for Eliza and Kaylee. So we have some gifts for you. We have some seeds. I've been to your home, and we know that you all are amazing gardeners and grow not only beautiful children, yet food that is nourishing as well. So some seeds, hopefully for the good dirt that's in Winona. And then this is a book for you, Eliza and Kaylee. It's one of my favorites. It's called What is God Like? So I hope that you will always experience that love in the many ways that you will continue coming to know how much Jesus loves you. So that's a book for you and your sister to share. So congregation, I invite you, if you will, we're gonna send a whole lot of love. This is a blessing from Jan Richardson. It is a strange thing to be so bound and so released, all in the same moment. To feel the heart open wide and wider still, even as it turns to take its leave. On this day, let us say, this is simply the way love moves in its ceaseless spiraling, turning us towards one another, then sending us into waits for us with arms wide open, in welcome and in hope. On this day, in this place where you have poured yourself out, thank you. Where you have been emptied and filled and emptied again, may you be aware more than ever of what your heart has opened to here, what it has tended to and welcomed, where it has broken in love and grief, where it has given and received blessing, in the unfathomable mystery that moves us, undoes us, and remakes us finally for joy. This day, may you know this joy in full measure. This day, may you know this blessing that gathers you in and sends you forth, but will not forget you, just as we will not. So here on this day, when we say grace, congregation, grace. This day we say grateful. On this day we say blessing. And on this day we say a whole lot of love. We release you into God's keeping and hold you in gladness and love. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So miss y'all. Thank you. You're welcome. Bye, sweeties. Goodbye. Good to see you. Can I give you the poem too? I invite our youth forward. And we are really thankful, congregation, as I mentioned earlier, as they mentioned too, for the whole lot of love. So we would like to do a dance with you. Let's make sure you all have enough room. Does anyone have the music? Yeah? Yes? Here, there's a handheld mic right over here, if you'd pass that to me. So you all, congregation, are invited. It's really simple. And how do I turn this one on? So this dance is called the Cupid Shuffle. You're invited, if you so choose, to rise. If you'd like to be in the aisles, it is very simple. We're just going to go to the left, and then we're going to go to the right, and then we're just going to kick a little bit. And I invite you to be in your body however it works. If you would rather not dance, that is totally okay. One of the things that we are aware of as we were in New Orleans, as being a people who continue to try to be anti-racist in a more deep way, we know the wisdom of the importance of metabolizing trauma and pain and sorrow through our bodies. So yes, when I mentioned at the diaper bank, let's do a dance, it was mostly, I was needing to move some things through. So the Cupid Shuffle was a dance that our other church that was there serving with us, a couple of folks were doing the Cupid Shuffle, and I've done this dance before, y'all. So Ready? It's really simple. We're going to go this way to the left, but you're going to go that way to the left, yeah? So it might not be exactly mirrored. Again, do what your gorgeous body needs to do, okay? Really simple. Cupid, yeah, it's all about love and a shuffle. Very simple. Ready? To the left, to the, okay, we got the music. We're finding the right part. It is G-rated as well. Yeah? Okay, so those that really, yeah? To the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to now kick, kick. Now walk it by yourself. That's where you get a shine, y'all. You just gotta do it to the left. It's coming back. You want to do it in a different place? Yeah? Yeah. Here, let's stand towards everybody again. It's coming back. Here we go. To the left. Ready? Right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left. Little simple kick. Kick, kick, kick. Now walk it by yourself. You get a shine and turn. Yeah. To the right, to the right, to the left, to the left. Little bit of a kick. Kick, kick. Now everybody kick. Now you gotta do your shine. Little half turn. Oh, here we go. Woo. Kick, kick. Now walk it to yourself. There you go. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left. Now kick, kick. There we go. You're coming back? I think that's good. Well, keep going, keep going. Yay, yay, yay! Well done, yay! Yoo-hoo,
Nice.
Thanks, y'all, for a little dance break. I know it's warm in here, yeah? So I'm going to invite us to pray together the Lord's Prayer. This is that fumbly transition, and yet I especially want us to be aware of that line today about people having enough food. I would like us to be aware of us being a people, heaven, right? That glorious place where there is enoughness and God's dream is already happening is what we're pulling into reality. We're pulling into reality the goodness, enoughness, the peace, the nonviolence, and a whole lot of love. So let us gather together and call that forth in this place within each of us. So I invite you to join with me. Our Creator, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
The story of unseen things above, of Jesus and his glory, of Jesus and his love. I love to tell the story because I know it's true. It satisfies my longing as nothing else can do. I love to tell the story, it will be my theme in glory, to tell the old story of Jesus and
sing it, yeah? Do it, Daniel. Let's get you here, let's hear you.
I love to tell the story. 'Twill be my theme in glory to tell the old story of Jesus and His love. I love to tell the story of unseen things above, of Jesus and His glory, of Jesus and His love. I love to tell the story because I know it's true. It satisfies my longing, says nothing else can do. I love to tell the story, 'twill be my theme and glory to tell the old story of Jesus and His love.
Friends, it's warm in here, yes, and we have a potluck to head to. And so I invite you to head to the potluck after worship, which is just going to be in a few more minutes. I invite you to connect with our youth. I also invite you to wish Pat and Chuck 65 years together. I also invite you to wish Carol a 90th birthday, yes? Yoo-hoo-hoo! And I invite you to be a people of peace and nonviolence and creating the world we long to see. So please sign up this coming week to participate in Loaves and Fishes as we are neighborly one to another and to make sure and usher in enoughness. We are going to sing in the midst of New Dimensions next Sunday. So come next Sunday. Yes? May you go now in peace. Go now in peace and know this, that our God delights in you. You who have been claimed beloved, may you dive deeper into that and take that into everywhere you encounter. Youth, you ready? Let's head out together. Kira and Hope as well. So let us sing, may God's blessing shine upon us.